All right, hello everybody. I was giving it a few minutes for other people to come in, and I'm happy that more people are here. Welcome to season 10 of CUDO Plays, your local board game design competition. Give yourselves a hand for being here. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate it. My name is Katie. We'll get into more of that later. So, some of your faces I recognize. Some of you are veterans of CUDO Plays and have done it before or know about it or are friends of ours. Some of you are new. So, CUDO Plays, for those of you who don't know, we are an Illinois local board game design competition hosted by the Champaign Urbana Design Organization. That's the CUDO in CUDO Plays. We bring together gamers, makers, and designers to help bring your board game ideas or TTRPG ideas to a reality. For this says 8 years, it's actually 10-ish. We've guided teams over the course of 7 months, yes, 7 months, to bring your board game ideas from inception to production, basically. We follow each team's progress, assist and support you guys as needed. The teams attend workshops led by industry experts, it's mostly us, use community resources, and then over the course of the 9 seasons that we've done so far, we have created over 100 games, and by we I mean the people of CUDO Plays, not like the board members. We the board believe in helping people create like functional, beautiful, and most importantly fun games. And so we want to introduce new people into the board gaming world and establish this community that helps inspire people to create through games. And hopefully anyone else you talk to who's been in CUDO Plays or a part of it can also say something similar like that. When we say board games, it's kind of broad. We have had competitors do card games. Those are easy to produce and easy to also like play test, which is good. We have your traditional board games with pieces that move around a board. It is a little bit more difficult for us to help foster tabletop like role-playing games because most of our play test events are about 90 minutes in length, so keep that in mind. But card games, board games, that umbrella we're good with. Dice games are fine. That one on the end is one where you kind of had to pretend to eat dice and then like pretend to kind of vomit them back into the bowl. It was a whole thing. So dexterity games, let's give them a shot. We've got plenty of places that help with fabrication around town, so let's see what we can do. Alrighty. Hopefully you guys are here because you're interested in being involved with CUDO Plays. There's a couple of different ways you can help join the competition. We have our participants, our play testers, and then our patrons, hopefully. What participants do is, do you have a game that you want to make? Many of you probably want to design your own board game. That is awesome. So that means your team can make a board game from the ground up. We at CUDO Plays are going to help you every step of the way. We always say that anyone can make a game, and every year we get people from tons of different backgrounds with wildly different skill sets, and they each make something special, which is kind of the whole point of CUDO Plays. We really want to make the bar for entering board game creation like on the ground so lots of people can enter with different perspectives. All right. Even if you can't think you can commit to making an entire game, we are always looking for people to play them and play test the games. Playtesters will attend various playtesting events during the season. You'll play the game prototypes and give constructive feedback to the designers. Being a playtester is cool because your opinions can have a major effect on the finished games. Let's see, playtesting is also a great way to become a part of the local gaming community. So even if you aren't ready to make your own game and put it out there, you can always help to playtest some games, and we definitely still need that. All right, CUDO Plays wouldn't be possible without our Patreon supporters. We're committed to our competition and all of our events being free for everyone. But if you want to help CUDO Plays thrive and grow, we hope you'll consider giving to the CUDO Patreon. And CUDO, again, is our umbrella organization, Champaign Urbana Design Org. Beyond that, we're always looking to forge new relationships with the community and the broader board game industry. So if you or anyone you know might be interested in helping out by like donating event space or games or other items, please let us know. Again, our goal is to make getting into creating board games like as cheap as possible for people. So you can always help us out with that by joining our Patreon or helping us in different ways. Alrighty, so some of you might have seen already that a lot of us are wearing these CUDO Plays t-shirts. They were produced a couple of years ago, and we thought, this being our season 10, that we would do something special. So t-shirts are back for season 10. Katie Cow has designed these beautiful t-shirts, and you can sign up to give us a donation and then receive a free gift because we are a nonprofit. FYI, but they look amazing. I'm very excited about this. Again, CUDO Plays is a nonprofit. Thank you so much. All right, now I'm going to get into a little bit of the meat and the potatoes of what the competition participation is like. So we have several events for people who choose to participate in the competition, whether or not you make a board game or if you're a playtester. I'm going to do a lot of information at you. It's okay. All of it is on our website for free. You can go ahead and look it up if you choose. The first thing we're going to have after this, I believe, and our student kickoff, is our board game boot camp. It is one of our board member Tom's personal favorite event that we run. The boot camp is our afternoon-long intensive crash course in board game design. Basically, you get there, you team up with other people, maybe you bring a team, maybe you don't, and you meet some new friends. We'll give you some game themes and game mechanics, and then a bunch of game pieces, and you'll have just a few hours, like 4-ish, 3-ish, to create a game. Boot camp is an amazing event, whether it's your first season or your fifth. Many CUDO Plays award winners have started out as ideas that come from boot camp. It's a really great opportunity to get those creative juices flowing. And I believe this one is already booked. It'll be, September 24th here in CPL, here in this room actually. And we've done it here before. We love it here. We're pretty good at running this event, so come and get some ideas going. Meet your local community. All right, so if you have your cool game idea, but you need some other people to potentially join your team, the next event is going to be pitch night. You can pitch your idea there. So if you want to make a game for CUDO Plays and don't have a strong idea, then you can come to pitch night and listen to other people's ideas and then maybe join a team. Or even if you have a team and an idea, you should still come to pitch night so that everyone can get excited about the game that you're going to create. It is for all people. We are still working on a location for this. We love holding this event where people can talk about their different ideas and what they want to do. But yeah, pitch night gets good at really publicly speaking about your game, and you can recruit people to your team potentially. All right. Once again, this year we are going to be partnering with the Playful by Design research cluster on campus, the interdisciplinary games study program at Illinois, to bring you hopefully multiple days of game-related talks and activities from experts and academics of all kinds of gaming. Again, helping to kind of inspire you about different aspects of games and board games. More information on that is going to be coming soon. I'll be working with those people, and if you know anybody who attends the University of Illinois, they should sign up for my Intro to Board Game Design course, please. Thank you. Alrighty. Our playtest convention. Playtesting is the most important part of the game design process, and our biggest playtest event of the season is our playtest convention. We invite all the teams to bring their fledgling prototypes out so anyone from the community, not just us, can play them. You'll learn a ton about your game at the playtest convention as other people play it. After playtest convention, or PlayCon as some of us call it, we're going to run regular smaller playtesting events so that teams can get the plays they need for a polished game. But the playtesting convention is really, really an important deadline for getting your idea on paper and then on a table to start to be fiddled with by other people. A lot of board game designers stop at kind of that point. They have a good idea in their head and they're satisfied with that. And here in CUDO Plays, we lovingly guide you to actually get it played. And PlayCon is the first step to that. Something we are bringing back from last season that we thought did well are our workshops and build nights. Throughout the season, we'll run multiple workshops for various aspects of game designs to help you round out your game. So build nights are just dedicated work time to help you construct your paper prototype. We know that's important for some people to have accountability and then also, frankly, the materials to be able to do so. Then after the build nights, we'll have a making workshop, which will teach you the basics of 3D printing and laser cutting from our very own Fab Lab and Chris, who will help you out. Eventually, we'll have the How to Present Your Game workshop, where teams work together on how to demo their game to audiences. And then it also helps you get a jump start on writing your rule book, which everybody tries to avoid until the very last minute. So we're trying to help you get started with that. Finally, our marketing workshop, which happens near the end of the competition, explores how you can take your game beyond CUDO Plays if you want to, and on the path to becoming published. Again, not a requirement. At CUDO Plays, I kind of identify us as like a kindergarten for games, but we do have a lot of people within this board game design community that have taken their games beyond this, and we can ask them how it was and how they did it. And we tend to do that at the marketing workshop. Alrighty. At the very end of the competition is the grand exhibition. This is our biggest event, the culmination of 6-7-ish months of hard work. Every team comes to, this one was at the Broadway Food Hall. Spoiler alert, it's probably going to be at the Broadway Food Hall again, to show off your completed games to your friends, family, and the public at large. At the end of the evening, the season's awards are given out, and everyone high fives. It is magical. We love it. You get to see your game actually played by people in its kind of finalized version. All right. None of the events are strictly mandatory, and we in CUDO Plays try not to be super strict regarding deadlines. Each game develops at its own unique pace. However, there are a few deadlines that we are pretty firm on. Registration. So the last day to register your team is, what do we say, October 22nd. And then our playtest convention is another pretty firm one. So yeah, you should have a playable prototype of some kind. And it can be really, really rough. You can change a lot through playtesting. We have had people both writing things and also erasing things and rewriting things at the playtest convention. That's okay. You can't really account for how somebody is going to interact with your game until you see them do it. The critical review, we're not calling that anymore, team check-in, much more friendly. The team check-in, I need to update these notes, is a few weeks before game turn-in. That's when we, the CUDO Plays committee, very in a friendly way, review the state of your game with you and highlight what you might want to consider finishing before turn-in. Which is the next deadline where all teams turn in finished copies of their games, which is in February there. After your games are turned in, we then pass them off to our panel of independent judges to play them all and rate them in 8 different categories that I'm going to tell you about presently. All right, our judging categories. Now, CUDO Plays is a board game design competition, so when games are turned in February, our independent judges will rate all the games on these different aspects of them. Individually, a game can do well in each individual aspect. Some games do well in 2 different aspects, but all of them are aspects of design that good board games should be good at. Marketability is it ready for a shelf? Accessibility is how many people can play it from young to old, and there are more descriptions on our website that you can look up. But you don't really need to worry about these individually right now because we just met, we're getting to know each other. Don't worry about being rated on categories because finishing is winning. Creating a board game is kind of like writing a novel. It's creating an independent work all its own that has like a beginning, a middle, and an end. And completing one itself is a huge reward. And I have a couple of like images of games from their like conception to what they eventually finish with to show you guys to see how a game can evolve. And also, of course, you know, the real treasure is the friends you make along the way with creating your game. But also, from our last season, season 8, this is a very like young picture of globe trotting from one of the earlier workshops that we had. That was, of course, developed by local game designer Jeff Chin and then was kickstarted. He is already an established game designer and just kind of used CUDO Plays as a good bracket to be able to progress his game along, which is fine. End of the Trail from season 4, of course, started out as, little things and little tiles that you would flip over, and was also kickstarted and helped launch the game publishing company Elf Creek Games, which some of you might be familiar with. And then probably the one that took a little bit of the longest to be developed, we have Horde Hoarding, which became eventually Goblin Firefight from season 2. And season 2 was a bit ago, and Goblin Firefight was published recently by Paizo. So that one was kind of captured in publication limbo for a while, but we're still proud of where it got to be. So again, publishing, not a requirement, just a fun aspect that we could tell you more about if you're interested. But for the most part, if and when you do finish your game, we give you some swag bags with a bunch of goodies from different people in the board game design industry. And these are some more pictures of games that were turned in. And they're turned in from any state, we have had printer, paper, and rules, and that is totally fine, to something a little bit more polished from our Fab Lab. For the finished game to be turned in, of course, we need things that are a little bit tedious, like 3 printed copies of your rules. If your game is longer than 30 minutes, we kind of need a 30-minute section the judges can play, and then a printed image of the game setup and the game in play. We do that because we are lucky enough to have a community that has a bunch of creatives in it that are willing to help us out, and we actually set up your game to take kind of glamour shots of them, both in the setup and then also in play, and then we keep those to put on our website to brag, but they're essentially yours if you want to keep them and advertise your game going forward. So that's why we require those types of things. Oh, and then a box or something that holds the game. That's also pretty important. I almost forgot about that. Alrighty. All right, so I said that finishing is winning, and it is. Creating a board game is already a huge feat in and of itself, but if you need even more incentives to make your own awesome board game, we also have an achievements program. Previously, we had a strategy guide and then individual stamps for each achievement. This year, we have something a little bit more portable, a little bit easier, but still has that same achievement feel. If you register a team, or if you already have, let us know, and you can pick up what we are calling, I believe, the Board Game Passport, which has each of these achievements in it. As you attend different workshops and different events or reach different milestones with your game's development, we have a stamp that we're going to outline that achievement in. Is it a game within a game? Yes, it is. But we've learned that that type of thing is very motivating. It's how I joined in season 3, and I hope it's equally as motivating for somebody else as well. Speaking of motivation, okay, one more thing. We are so excited that we have reached season 10, and I want to say it has been 10-ish years, but there was a tiny bit of a pandemic in there for a while. We had a lot of virtual game jams. It was fine. We're happy we're back. So we want to do something very special for season 10. So if you register a team and are actually in the competition, we have exclusive t-shirts that are very much like the Kickoff poster that some of you saw today to come. They were designed by our very own Kaity Cow, and I think they are beautiful, and I am trying to figure out if I can get one or if I actually have to enter a game for it. So we'll see. Speaking of which, this whole thing would not be possible without our CUDO Plays committee. It's a group of dedicated volunteers who all work together to make this possible. Many of them are in the room here. I was told to not introduce us one by one, so now it is your own individual assignments to say hello to each of the people who happen to be in a CUDO Plays t-shirt. But I do want to shout out that other Kaity Cow who made the posters and the t-shirts and stuff. That's me. I didn't have bangs when I took that picture. I know you all probably don't recognize me. I'm so sorry. Anyway, that is the gist of CUDO Plays. You've heard about the events we're going to have. You've heard about what we are trying to do here. And now I want to ask you guys, both our returners and our new folks, what questions do you have about CUDO Plays, about making your own board game? Go for it.
So, I'm new here.
Hi.
Hello. And this sounds really cool. I want to design a board game, but what should I be doing now? Because all those dates seem pretty far off right now. What should I be thinking about working on at the current time?
Great question. I think, and some of the other board members might chime in here also, I'm going to stop standing on my tippy toes if that's cool with everybody. So I knew that was the right height to be at, and I don't think I can sustain it. I think what is important to do now is to join our Discord to be a part of that exchange. And then I do apologize, but Facebook has an unrivaled events platform. And we do have a majority of our events there. However, we are looking into doing Discord events as well. And every year I say we're going to get better at Instagram, and I really don't know if we're going to, but you can follow us there as well, and we might get better. So what you should be doing now is eventually I'm going to stop talking, and there'll be an opportunity to network and meet all of us. And that is very good to do. Those dates are going to get here faster than you think, so keep that in mind. Go for it, Chris.
Say join the Discord, go to boot camp so you can build something, come to the Fab Lab so you can build something, and then keep playing whatever prototype you have until we get to November.
Yeah. What's up, Andrew?
Before we finish on that topic, I'm going to come up here since I'm recording too. We have a playtest this Tuesday night. So if you have a game already kind of in the works, you can bring it to a playtest early. We do them throughout the year regardless of competition status. So even if you don't have the game done or anything, you can bring it and talk to us about what you're thinking about doing, and we can give you some early advice as well. So the first Tuesday of every month at Harvest Market, we have playtest nights. It didn't make the upcoming events, but that is one to remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Andrew, you had something else?
Yeah, and finally, now is actually a pretty good time for ideation. So really getting ideas on the paper, because everybody has ideas. Very few people make board games. And so right now at the very beginning, it's actually committing something to paper, even if it's just like a brainstorm idea. A list of games you want to draw elements from. A list of games, a short list of games you like. Actually put that in one place and start thinking and maybe writing out little word ideas about what you want to do. Then going to playtest events, start seeing how you can start putting stuff together. And getting that onto paper is at least a very good first step to actually committing to doing something. And then as the events start rolling out, you take that idea and start to refine it, and it snowballs from there. But that's a very good first step for trying to figure out what you want to make. Mm-hmm. And then you can figure out how you can make that.
Yeah. Joining the Discord, making sure you're coming to boot camp, meeting some of us, beginning ideation. So, and like veterans of this community will know that the CUDO Plays board members, we give a lot of advice about how to make your board games, and they're not going to really make sense until you make your first board game. And then you'll be like, wow, I wish I had listened, so listen to us now, maybe. I don't know. What other questions do we have about participating in CUDO Plays, the board game design? Yes, go for it.
So what about kind of the opposite of that? How far ahead can you get in your design process and still qualify for the competition?
We have had somebody join the competition who had been working on a board game with his brother through mail for like 30 years. So and he just wanted to kind of use this competition as an end cap to get it kind of into a final-ish state. And I don't even think he stayed on that as the final state, but it was a good way to participate in the competition. So if your game is already pretty developed, that's great. What I would say is I want people to reflect on how much it's been play tested by people outside of your immediate game circle and game community. And this is a good opportunity to get more eyes on it and more play tests on it, because you cannot anticipate how people are going to kind of react to it. I would caution people to not get art started before they encounter that step, if that makes sense. So some people are very seduced by the idea of having very pretty board game art, and I say just leave it until you have a really solid nucleus of how your game is, and until you've had multiple people kind of like play test it. Is that helpful? I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yes, that does. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
Or you could just be like me and reuse the same art for every game.
You can also reuse the same art for every game. That is totally fine. In this community, we have a lot of people who've made a lot of games, and we have a lot of ins to different places where you can find art, and that's okay. Andrew, you had something to say, I'm sorry.
Also, if you're at a point in game design where you no longer intend to change anything,
Oh, yeah.
this is probably, like, you could still probably enter the game in the contest. I just don't think the CUDO Plays events would have a ton of value for you. But if you're still open to changing stuff, if you're still willing to tear up a card, tear up a rule, make it print out a new rule stock because the last one is broken or something, then this is absolutely an amazing time. Even if you have, like I said, like our friends who worked on the game for 30 years, they were still willing to change and ideate things and improve. And that's a good place for you to be in this competition. Thank you.
Cool. Other questions about CUDO Plays or the board game design whole thing, whole process? I usually have some planted questions, but I forgot to make an actual thing. What's up?
Can you add members to your group after you sign up?
Yes, that's totally allowed. We have a Google Doc that we operate separately on the back end, and you can just email us and we will update it. That's fine. What's up?
What are the age?
Great question. We require anybody under the age of 18 to attend an event with an adult. But that's about it. If I'm pretty sure that's correct. People from the board, yes, cool, I'm getting thumbs up, yeah. But yeah, so what's up?
Is there a limit to how many people can be on a team?
No. No, but we know from having done this for a couple of years that a good team size is anywhere from 2 to 4, 5, 6. Because you can make a solo game, you can make a game by yourself. I'm gonna spoil it for you. It's not a completely pleasant process. It is good to have, Alex shaking his head really hard because he's made several solo games. It's good to have a buddy. It is good to have someone to bounce ideas off of. But once you get to about 6 people, then it gets a little bit lots of cooks in the kitchen. But you don't have to take my word for it. You can ask people who have participated in years past as well about that too. Let's see. Other questions? Board game stuff. What's up?
Can you submit multiple games?
You shouldn't. Let's see. You certainly can try. Here at CUDO Plays, we have not a firm stance, but a stance based on lessons that we have learned over the time that we've done this, that focusing on one game is probably the best use of your energies, and focusing on multiple games can get a little bit confusing and a little bit overwhelming. Again, you do not have to take my word for it. Please find a person who has participated in CUDO Plays before and ask about their experience. But good question, thank you. All right.
I can add on to that.
Yes.
There's also multiple seasons of CUDO Plays.
Oh yeah, we'll be back.
Being able to focus on one game a season, really, you end up with a much better game.
Yeah. You can focus on the development of one and its process. Let's see here. Other questions? Board, do we have any questions that we need to plant in minds of people? No, not so much. I'm gonna give it 30 more seconds. I'm very comfortable sitting in silence. So.
Are members of the board allowed to enter the competition?
No, we are not. We can make games independently, and that has happened before. One of us just really wanted to make a game, and so we still have it at the grand exhibition, but it's not submitted for judging because we keep that panel separate both from us and then, from our stuff pretty much. So, yeah, ethics. Exactly. Other questions? Don't let that deter you from joining the board if you want, though, because we always need people. Yes?
How does the board pick winners?
Great question. So, there is a judging subcommittee, that board of people that you saw up with 10 of us or 12 of us. 2 of those people make independent contacts with other people in the board game industry in town that have either been in it for a long time or have fresh perspectives. We then, after we collect all the games, we get those games to those people, help with the photo shoot, and then immediately deliver it to the judges. And then they all have a rubric that they fill out about those 8 different categories that I talked about earlier. It is all on our website if you want to see how your game can do well in each of those categories. But that is very much end of the road stuff. But yeah, it's independent judges that are local, usually, and it's organized by our judging subcommittee. So, yeah. If you wanted to get into the nitty-gritty of how the committee is all put together, we can do that. It's not very fun. It's not like a game, unfortunately, but it is something we've done over some time.
The judges are third party.
Third-party judges. Thank you. Not us. Other questions? No. In that case, I think we have nothing left to do except for just talk to one another, introduce yourselves to your neighbor, see how they have either participated before or how they found the competition. Alec is pointing at somebody, yes?
If you want to register a team today, you can come over here and then pick up a passport.
Yep, and we'll have a laptop and also this laptop potentially back there for team registration as well. All right, one last call for burning questions that people have about making board games. No? Good? Yes.
I guess, so along the lines of like the 2 game thing, could I make a game and then do art for someone else? Is that something that, like, be on their team as something?
I think so, yes. I'm going to look at other. Katie gave a thumbs up. Tim gave, yes, you can do that.
Why not?
I think that is okay to do. But again, I always caution personally about participating in more than one game just because of spreading yourself too thin. But if you can do it, you can do it. Yeah, that is totally fine. Help build the community. We appreciate it. Artists is something that a lot of our games lack towards the end. So if you have any art friends, please tell them about this. It's a good portfolio building opportunity. All right. Other questions? Planned questions from the committee that we've missed? No? Cool. All right. Then I'm going to stop talking. Thank you guys very much for listening to me for a very long time. We can start to talk to each other.